We are live, beat Brian Johnson. It's been a long time. I'm super excited. It's football season. We got our first game of preseason. I'll probably have to. It's preseason. I understand that, but it's not regular season, but it is football. Brian, how excited are you to have football back in the Bay Area? We got the 49ers playing the Titans in a preseason game. I don't really want to get into the game because it doesn't really matter with the Niners starting nobody on the offensive side of the ball. But it is
Yeah,
football. You have to, full chub. Maybe you're inside of yourself. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling ready to go. And if you're 49ers fans, the water is warm and you need to come in because it's ready to go and we're getting ready for the season.
Brian, how many more years do you give this roster to win a Super Bowl? Is it Super Bowl or bust this year? You got one more year after that. We got an aging roster. We have Christian McCaffrey at 30 years old. You know how running backs age. We signed Mike Evans in the offseason. He had a kind of a down year with the injury, but it still is Mike Evans. He could have a bounce back year. He gets 1,000 yards every year. Have good signings. We trade for Osa from the Dallas Cowboys on the defensive tackle. That's a story for another day. But, well, maybe later in this podcast, actually. Is this, how many more, is it Super Bowl bust for this roster and Kyle Shanahan?
Yes, because I feel like the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams are getting hyped up a lot. But I think people forget about the 49ers. We're one of the most consistent playoff teams out there. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, it seems like every other year or every year gets us in the playoffs, and he's one of the most consistent coaches. He just, you know, he's one of the greatest coaches out there. I mean, you know, you can't rip on what he does because what he does is what works and is basically what everybody schemes off in the league.
Brian, you're definitely right about the scheme thing. He has definitely set a precedent on how offenses are run in the NFL. But you look at the resume, it's missing one thing, that Super Bowl victory.
Yeah.
Does that concern you? Is that a Kyle Shanahan issue? Obviously, Kyle Shanahan had a rough offseason the last couple of weeks. He gets in a car accident. He drops his phone. Whatever happens, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a real story. I don't believe anything I hear. But I do believe Kyle Shanahan's a great offensive play caller. He's a great head coach. He will get you to the playoffs if you have the roster to get there. He's not going to hold you back.
Yeah.
Is this the year Kyle Shanahan gets to the Super Bowl and wins it? And what I I think you would agree with that. Like this is the Super Bowl roster. Is this the last year of this? Nick Bosa is holding or not holding out, but is not practicing. This is an aging roster. Does it concern you, or is it like, nope, this is exciting. This is the roster I want going forward.
I just think it's more precaution. I think most of the guys they're just gonna activate before week one. The arthritis does concern me a little bit in Nick Bosa's knee, but I think most of it's precaution. I think most of the guys could be activated before week one, and I just feel like this is the year because I think a lot of people are counting us out because the moves that the Rams made and Seattle won our Super Bowl on our home turf. So I just feel like the defense is going to be pumped. I feel like that loss in Seattle left a bad taste in our mouth.
Absolutely. I mean, Seattle. We had a chance at the 1 seed going into Week 17, visiting
Yeah,
Seattle, and from that moment on, maybe even like the first series, it was like, oh my God. Because I was in Disneyland. We made a special trip to a sports bar to watch Niners Seattle week 17 or week 18, excuse me, because of the new NFL, or not even new at this point, but the NFL schedule. And we just had no chance of moving the ball. Obviously, different roster. Seattle, but it built the Seattle confidence to carry them to a Super Bowl. Seattle, obviously, we understand why they are a great team and why they have a chance and are considered Super Bowl contenders. The Rams add Myles Garrett. They might be adding Aaron Donald, or they probably will be. I think you'd agree, right? Aaron Donald will play NFL
Yeah.
football this year. Adding those
But I
two
feel
teams.
like I feel like if I like the sentiment John Lynch said, like bring it on.
No, that's it. I mean, I agree. That's the sentiment you have to have at this point, right? Like, we'll take on all comers. This is our roster. He can't say, "Oh, I'm scared of a roster." That's not what John Lynch will ever say, right?
Yeah, yeah, he
Moving.
can't say that. But I feel like what kind of Donald are we getting? I mean, he can look all good as he wants to in workout videos, but he's a lot older than when he played. And I feel like maybe we might not get the Donald that we got before. Like they may expect certain things in LA, but I don't know. I just don't think we're going to see that guy that was dominating pass rushes in the past.
Let me play devil's advocate here because I don't even know what if I believe what I'm about to say. But you could say the last time I saw Aaron Donald 3 years ago, he was 31 years old. He was walking off um, the gridiron, showing his ring finger, saying, "That's my Super Bowl." And the Niners' biggest addition this year would be Mike Evans, probably, or maybe Osa from the Dallas Cowboys, who's gonna be a big addition. We'll get into him later. But like Mike Evans, probably on the offensive end, and who is coming off this big injury. Are you concerned about like? Do you believe in Mike Evans staying healthy for 17 weeks, or is the DeAndre Stingley draft like you're like, oh, this guy? We'll get into him later too. We don't have to get too deep. But the Mike Evans, like Aaron Donald.
I don't believe in like training camp videos. I know people have been posting that he looks a lot slower, but I don't know. I just don't believe in that. I believe like when game time comes on that he's going to be, he's what we wanted. You needed to bring in an X receiver. I think he's going to be the guy that draws the coverage, that makes the big plays in the red zone, gets big time touchdowns.
So there's no health concern on the Mike Evans part. He's 16
No,
weeks.
I mean, it's just kind of, like I said, a precaution. Like, I
It's
mean, a lot
definitely
of these veterans, you're not going to push injuries to make it even worse. I feel like. I think what I see as a positive from this roster is there's a lot of guys there's two guys that are on 1 year deals, Debo and Dre Greenlaw, prove it deals. And when you're on those kind of deals, you need to prove you still have it to get a contract in the future. I think those are two guys that are going to produce big for this team this year.
so. I mean, we'll get into Debo a little later. Let's get into Dre Greenlaw right now because I agree. I don't even know if I agree with you. It's a prove it deal. I think it's a Dre Greenlaw F it deal. Dre Greenlaw said, "I want to come back to San Francisco. Like I'm going to get real, very fan friendly because I believe in Dre Greenlaw. I think Dre Greenlaw sets the tone for this team, and I think he elevates Fred Warner, who doesn't need elevation because Fred Warner is so great. But him by his side allows Fred Warner to do things that he can't do if he doesn't trust the guy next to him. And I don't think he ever fully trusted Tatum Bethune. I don't think he ever fully trusted the guy who Devondre Campbell. I really think this Dre Greenlaw signing. We've seen
Yeah, I
him in
mean,
practice.
winners.
What was that?
You mean D winners?
Yes, D Winters. Or even Devondre Campbell when he was playing. I didn't trust. I mean, Devondre might actually replace Fred Warner. I just think Dre Green, we've seen it in practice. We've seen the reports. He sets the tone. Will he'll kill you. He'll do anything in his power to dislocate the ball from any tight end, any running back's hands. He's going to fill holes, and I think he's really going to set a tone that with Fred Warner, obviously. Fred Warner is the centerpiece of this whole defense.
Yeah.
But them together, it's a special match. It's not the Bowman Willis match that we love to talk about, but it's a different thing. It's almost equivalent when they're at full health. I have to see it again to put them in that level because injuries do. But I do think it sets them, the 49ers, apart from different defenses, where he didn't really show that in Denver because of the injuries. We'll get in. Let's get into the group, the position groups together. This is the position group I love as a 49er fan. This like linebacker core. You have Fred, who's top 2 in the whole NFL. Maybe I'd put him at 1. I'm a homer. I love the 49ers. I've seen what he's done for 10 years. And then adding Dre Greenlaw back, just an absolute tone setter. He's not afraid to knock your block off. And I really think it's going to separate this defense from what it was last year.
Yeah, I want to talk a minute about Raheem Morris. I think he's going to bring a different aspect to this defense. I think we're going to see different schemes. We're going to see a little bit more aggressiveness. We're going to see kind of like 3 guys up front who set the tone. I think you're going to start seeing 4 guys behind them who kind of like bring the pressure. You could start seeing like a hybrid role, like Nick Martin in the background, back trying to bring the pressure. I think we really need to get to the quarterback and set the tone and get more sacks this year.
All right, let's go to the defensive line. You bring up sacks. Nick Bosa is obviously ultimately important. We saw what the Niners defensive line looked like last year without Nick Bosa. It was pathetic, would you put? Or is that something you'd agree with? Just god awful?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of pushed out. I was being too much of a homer last year and not being realistic about the pass rush. It was pathetic when he left, but I like the guy we took out of Texas Tech.
We always have hope as 49. We're faithful.
Yeah.
But, okay, so we add Osa. We have C.J. West. We have Big Alfred Collins in the middle.
Yeah.
The defensive line should be better. The linebacking core would be like Fred Warner, Jay Greenlaw. And then we have outside the corners, Lenore, Upton Stout, who I think is going to take a big step. I think he's one of the best slot corners and is going to take a big step, and people are going to recognize him as one of the best slot corners in the NFL. Do the safeties concern you at all? We've had the up and downs of Jair Brown. Malik Mustafa has shown himself as a great hitter.
I think
the coverage is a little off at times. But what about the safeties? Does that concern you at all? Because I know a lot of Niners fans have this big concern. I'm obviously a big Malik Mustafa fan. I think he has potential to be a great player. Jair Brown leaves something to be desired. But I want to hear your thoughts on the secondary and especially those safeties. We didn't address it in the draft. John Lynch said, I think, single. Who's the safety they drafted last year?
Siegel.
Put on a couple pounds. He's going to be able to. He said he's going to be able to handle linebackers and running backs a little better in coverage. What's your thoughts on the back end of the secondary?
I really think this was a wake-up call for Renardo Green when he took that chew out from Shanahan in that playoff game. I think he's going to be my bounce-back player in the defense. I think he's going to be a really good corner next to Lenore. But that does kind of concern me as the safety because somebody's going to have to step up, whether it's Siegel or Jair Brown. We know what we're going to get from Mustafa, but somebody's going to have to step up besides Mustafa and the safety.
I mean, I agree. Who do you think the guy is who will? Who do you think personally? Is it going to be Zaire Brown, who we've seen for about 4 years? He's had his ups early in his career. He had the big interception against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He had some terrible play the last year. And then Siegel kind of played well until he kind of got replaced once Mustafa came back last year and he took a step back. Who do you think will be that second? Obviously, Zaire Brown's the leader in the clubhouse.
Um, yeah, I think Jair Brown made some big plays down the stretch. I think they're going to kind of use him more in the middle of the field and have Mustafa be the guy who kind of goes like deeper in the field to cover people. And I just think Jair Brown is going to be the guy who steps up this year in the Raheem Morris system.
And you're confident in that secondary duo, or is it kind of like, well, this is what we got. We're just gonna see what we got.
Yeah,
And
I just think that with Raheem Morris, he puts a big emphasis on good cornerback play. I think he's gonna like put out the best in those guys.
see, I agree. I think Raheem Morris would definitely be a, a great addition to this. And I love Robert Saleh. Don't get me wrong. Robert Saleh is a great defensive coordinator. But Raheem Morris is aggressive. He's going to send blitzes, and I think that's going to be a real beneficiary to this defensive backfield where they kind of struggled because, like we mentioned earlier, the pass rush was just pathetic, for lack of a better word.
I mean,
With
you're right. It was dead last in the league, so that's beyond pathetic.
so the additions of Nick Bosa, Raheem Morris, we're feeling a little better about the defensive side of the ball. As far
Yeah.
as the improvements on the offensive side of the ball, we brought up Mike Evans. Let's talk about the offensive line because it struggled with protecting Brock Purdy and even Mac Jones for most of the year. I mean, Trent Williams was in and out of the lineup. I know you are feeling a little higher on this offensive line. Explain to the people who are listening and me, because I'm still a little skeptical. I'd love to hear some positive reinforcement, get me a little motivated for this offensive line. Why do you think this offensive line is going to be a lot better? Is it Brock Purdy getting rid of the ball
I
quicker?
think
The offensive line
was playing on one leg last year. He got injured in preseason. He kind of went and played through it. I feel like he's 100%. I think we're going to get the rookie year, Dominic Panu, who was the enforcer. I think I like the guy we picked up from the Patriots. And I like Colby. I like the guy we took in the draft this year. I just think it wasn't sexy offensive line like we've spent a lot of money on it, but I feel like we did improve it over the off season.
I mean, Carver Willis out of Washington was the offensive lineman you're mentioning who we drafted. I still worry about the center position. I feel like we've never had a center. Since maybe who was Jeremy Newberry back in the Jeff Garcia days. The
Yeah.
center position it feels like it's been a rental for 20 years now. And it's such an important position. Yeah, it's the least important position if you're talented offensive line. McKivitz is good. He's grown on me. I'll give him credit. Pooney has potential. I've seen him for a year just dominate a right side on the run game. His pass protection could be a little better, but that's not important from the guard. You need a center who can call out protections, get Pooney, and get the left guard. Who's the left guard this year? Trent Williams is just an island I don't worry about. Even he can be 60 years old. I don't care. It's Trent Williams. He wouldn't be on an NFL roster if he can't play. I just have a little concern on the interior of that offensive line. But I obviously feel like they could be better than last year as well because it was so bad. Is that fair?
I just don't think it's going to be like where Brock Purdy's running for his life. He's going to have more protection. And if you give Brock Purdy more protection, if guys get open, he's going to find them out there.
Let's talk about last year's draft. I'm going to go through last year's draft. And I want you to say the guy who you feel will take the biggest step next year. And I'll start after I list everybody who I think will take the biggest step forward next year. So the draft, Michael Williams, who had a promising start to his career, had a big injury. He'll be back. Alfred Collins had flashes. Nick Martin, man, we sucked this guy off for 17 weeks last year waiting for him to make a moment. And Shanahan just didn't give him an opportunity, to be honest. We were waiting and waiting and waiting, and he just never got that opportunity.
Right. But I think Raheem Morris, he's going to get more of a role on this defense.
Do you think he's gonna play? Do you think he'll play a lot, like in a 4-3, or do you think it'll be a lot of two linebackers like Saleh liked?
I think it's going to be like a 4-3, but it's going to be like you're a hybrid guy where they're putting you in there to kind of go after the quarterback.
So you think Nick Martin's going to be a pass rusher this year, a lot more than he was utilized last year?
Yeah, I think that's going to.
Now we get into the next four picks, who I was so high on last year. I thought they did a marvelous job drafting these four guys. In Upton Stout, C.J. West, Jordan Watkins, the receiver from Ole Miss, Jordan James from Oregon. I thought these four guys were getting a lot of PT. Upton Stout did, and he played well. I think he's going to take a big – I love Upton Stout. I actually think he's going to be a Pro Bowler or has the chance to be a real stud in this league, one of the best inside corners in the whole NFL. And then C.J. West, he had moments of brilliance. He just couldn't stay healthy, didn't get enough snaps out of Indiana. Good D tackle. I like C.J. West. Jordan Watkins could not get on the field. I don't know what Shanahan had against him. We were without wide receivers for a lot of time. That's the one that concerns me. Like, maybe he's a bust. I've heard he might get cut in this offseason.
Well, I played tight, and he looked a lot better than he did last year. So
yeah, but there's still rumors he will get cut.
No, I think we keep Watkins. I think the guy that might get cut will be Allen. That guy can't stay healthy.
I mean, that's another receiver 2 years ago we took in the same round as we took Jordan Watkins. And then we have Jordan James, the running back from Oregon, who I thought was going to be a stud. We probably saw 4 carries all year, and they were both in the divisional round against the Seattle Seahawks. And he looked brilliant. He looked great. But with the draft pick of Kalen Black, how does this running back room work out? Obviously, McCaffrey's going to be the bell cow if he's healthy, and when he's healthy, these running backs aren't going to get opportunities. It's just the way he can do everything. He doesn't want to come off the field. Do you have more faith in Kalen Black as a 25-year-old rookie who's in the prime of his career, getting drafted at 25 years old, or would you rather see Jordan James?
I would rather see Kalen Black because I'm not sure how much, I know Jordan James fractured his ribs, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a little banged up. So Jordan, some of these guys are going to have to get cut. Like, it's just numbers game at this point, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep Kalen Black, Jordan James, but I think Taylor's the one that gets cut. Yeah.
So you think Jordan James gets cut?
I think Watkins will make the team, but I think Allen will get cut.
See, I think as a receiver, I think Jordan Watkins, but I think Cowan has more potential in the receiving game. I could be wrong. I'm not a professional at this thing, but I feel like he's more the punt returner, kick returner type guy than Jordan Watkins. Obviously, the big draft pick we saw today, he made a big impact. and Dre's on scribbling. Like, from Ole Miss, as is Jordan Watkins, two receivers. I mean, I think Callan gets cut. I think James has to get cut at some point. And then Curtis, and then just to get it, let's move on. Or do you trust the receivers or the running back room more with the injuries? You have CMC, you have Kalen Black, you have Jordan James, and then you have Evans, Watkins, Debo. It's a little aging on the wide receivers. But if you could choose a set or a group, do you trust the offense, the wide receivers, or the running backs more to contribute with Purdy throwing the ball and handing off and the O line, all of it factored in?
I think the receivers, I think we're going to have a lot more speed this year. So I think a lot more guys are going to get open.
Absolutely. So we watched this preseason game. We have 7 minutes left. Curtis Rourke looked pretty good. Adrian Martinez, he's got to be gone, right? This is pathetic.
It's really bad.
It's like watching Jeremy. Who was the guy on the Niners the African American gentleman against the Eagles NFC Championship game who lasted a quarter and a half? He played like 18 games.
No, I feel like he was kind of the guy that they cut and they kept signing. I mean, I don't want to bring it up on a podcast, but I felt like he was kind of the team slut.
Definitely the team slut. I mean, it is. So obviously we're both feeling good. We're both 49er fans. Super Bowl or bust for me. I'm at the point where, like, obviously Brock Purdy's he's 26. As long as you have him, he'll be competitive. But I feel like the Evans, the CMCs, the Fred Warners, the Nick Bosa's, they're at the end of their prime. The Kyle Shanahan's even was out of rocky offseason with his car accident, with his concussion. Hopefully that doesn't affect him for more than anything as far as play calls goes. I don't think it will. I think concussions are a little overblown as far as day-to-day.
I just don't think we've seen the best of Brock Purdy. I think we're going to see Brock Purdy's best season this year.
I mean, Brian, I'll have a bold prediction, and I'm asking you for one bold prediction before we go. But give me your top two position groups and the one position group you are kind of struggling with that you think they didn't address enough and could hold them back from winning a Super Bowl.
I'm gonna go the tight end group because outside of George Kittle, they really just don't have anything. It's extremely thin.
You don't like Tonjes?
I do like Tonjes, but outside of that, it's just like if Kittle missed extended time, I just think this tight end group is kind of thin.
They definitely could address it more. So what are your two favorite position groups?
My two favorite position groups are going to be the defensive line because you got Mikael Williams.
Right, hold on. The defensive line. So the weakness of last year, obviously, they get Bosa back, which is huge. They trade for Osa. What gives you so much confidence in it? Because I think defensive. I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just wondering. Like, I think most people would disagree and say that's one of their parts where they need to show something. What gives you so much confidence in the defensive line?
I just feel like, and they addressed it with that Texas Tech pass rusher. I just feel like Romello Height. Then they got, Mikael Williams is going to come back week 1. Then you got Collins, you got C.J. West. I think it's a really deep position group, in my opinion.
Okay, I like your explanation. Who's the next one? What's the last one you got?
What's the last one? I'm going to go wide receiver group because I think they're really deep this year. I think they have a lot of speed. I think they have a lot of speed. I think they're going to be getting open and giving Brock Purdy opportunities to make big time throws.
I like your explanation. We are past 30 minutes. I'm just going to go real quick, and then I'm going to ask you one last question. The position group I believe in the most is the quarterback position. This is going to be bold. I think Brock Purdy could be MVP this year with the receivers being, as you bring up, their biggest group. I think it's slept on as far as NFL people believe. I think Debo is going to be rejuvenated. Him and Kyle Shanahan have a connection. They talked about it. There was no falling out even when they were in their contract negotiations. Debo was always a 49er. He's always performed as whatever they needed. And then the signing of Mike Evans, a deep ball threat, a red zone threat, which they have needed. Outside of George Kittle, they have always lacked. I know Brandon Ayuk has had probably the biggest fall off since Antonio Brown, one of the ugliest fall. But I love this wide receiver group. But it's not even my second favorite. My second favorite group is the inside linebacker group. I think Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw just together give each other exactly what they need. They build confidence off each other. If they both stay healthy, it is nasty. It sets a tone that no other defense in the whole NFL can set. So I love that inside linebacker group. I love the quarterback group. Honorable mention, I do like your wide receiver group. I think it's underrated. The D-line group gives me a little scared, but my biggest concern is the secondary. And I love Malik Mustafa. I have his jersey. Jair Brown has just been bad for too many years. Obviously, he could bounce back. I'm not saying. And Raheem Morris, I haven't seen his defense. I haven't seen his defense for 17 weeks. I see it every once in a while. It made Brock Purdy look bad when he was the Vikings defensive coordinator. The Vikings have always been a tough team for the 49ers because of Raheem Morris on the defensive side of the ball. So I'll put the safeties as my least confident. Obviously, I could be wrong. I'm not saying anything I'm saying is absolutely correct, but that's just how I feel. And that's my thoughts on their positional groups as far as my two favorite and my least favorite. Is that do you feel like I'm way off on any of those?
No, I mean, I think you're pretty much right on with most of those. And it just feels like Debo seems more humble this year.
I mean, he left and was like, "Wow, this sucks. This isn't the same thing." What do you think of Kyle Shanahan's porn stats? Is it an A plus, a B plus? Is it on Round Zerby's level?
I'll give a solid B.
A B. All right, Brian. Hey, this is the TMB podcast with Tyler McGurk, Brian Johnson. We did 33 minutes. We'll be back.
Peace.
It's what time? What's today? Thursday. We'll be back on Tuesday or Thursday next week. Brian, it's been great. I love talking Niners football with you. Check out Fat Boy Fadeaway podcast Sunday morning, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. We got to get up early, Brian. Darren is pushing the limits.
I'm ready.
I'm glad.
Go
right.
49ers.
Absolutely. It's Super Bowl or bust from me. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for hopping on. TMB podcast. Check it out. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Peace.